In the quiet rhythm of life, there is a simple truth often overlooked. What you add to your actions shapes what returns to you. Just as a pinch of salt transforms plain water into something meaningful, so too does discipline refine the ordinary moments of your life into something powerful. Many wander through their days waiting for luck to arrive, as if it were a visitor who chooses some doors and ignores others. But luck is not a wandering spirit. It is something cultivated, something invited through the way you live, think, and act. Without awareness, life remains tasteless, like water without salt, necessary yet unremarkable. Discipline is not a burden, it is clarity in motion. It is waking up when comfort says to sleep. It is choosing patience when impulse demands haste. It is doing what must be done even when no one is watching. These small, quiet choices may seem insignificant, but they accumulate, shaping your path in ways unseen. Purity of intention deepens this process. When your actions are not clouded by greed, anger, or distraction, they become steady and precise. A clear mind acts without confusion, like still water reflecting the sky. From such a mind, right effort arises naturally, and right effort leads to results that others may call luck. Consider two individuals walking the same road. One moves carelessly, distracted, and inconsistent. The other walks with awareness, placing each step with intention. When opportunity appears, who is ready to receive it? It is not chance that separates them, but preparation. What appears as luck is often the fruit of unseen discipline. Salt does not announce itself, yet its presence is unmistakable. In the same way, true discipline does not seek attention. It works quietly, shaping your character, strengthening your resolve, and guiding your actions. Over time, it transforms your life from within. If you wish for better outcomes, do not chase luck as if it were something outside you. Instead, refine your habits, purify your intentions, and remain steady in your efforts. Add the salt of discipline to each moment, no matter how small it seems. In doing so, you will begin to notice something subtle yet profound. The world starts responding differently. Doors open where there were none, paths become clearer. What once felt like coincidence reveals itself as the natural result of your inner work. In the end, luck is not found there, it is created, and the secret ingredient has always been within your reach. Luck is not random, it is shaped by consistent actions and mindful living rather than chance. Many people move through life believing that luck is something scattered randomly, like leaves carried by the wind, landing on some while passing others by. They wait, they hope, and sometimes they grow frustrated, wondering why fortune seems distant or unfair. But this way of seeing the world creates restlessness because it places power outside of one's own hands. When everything is left to chance, effort feels uncertain and patience begins to fade. Yet if one looks more closely, a different truth quietly reveals itself. What is often called luck is not an accident, but the natural result of repeated actions, shaped over time with care or neglect. Every small choice carries weight, even when it appears insignificant. The way you begin your morning, the attention you give to your work, the honesty in your words, the discipline in your habits, these are like drops of water filling a vessel. One drop seems meaningless, but many drops create something that cannot be ignored. In the same way, consistent actions guided by awareness slowly build conditions that others later describe as fortunate outcomes. What appears sudden to the outside eye is often the result of long, quiet preparation. When actions are careless or inconsistent, the path becomes uncertain. A person may start many things but finish few, may act with enthusiasm one day and indifference the next. In such a state, opportunities can pass unnoticed or be poorly handled when they arrive. Then it is easy to say that luck was missing. But if the same person begins to act with steadiness, showing up each day with intention regardless of mood, a change begins to occur. Skills deepen, understanding grows, and confidence becomes rooted in experience rather than wishful thinking. When opportunity comes, it is no longer a surprise to be feared, but a moment to be met with readiness. It is important to see that this process does not demand perfection. It asks only for sincerity and continuity. Even small, disciplined actions, when repeated over time, reshape both the mind and the circumstances around it. The person who was once waiting begins to participate. The one who felt powerless begins to notice influence. Gradually, the idea of luck loses its mystery because its causes become visible in daily life. There is also a quiet shift within. Instead of chasing outcomes, attention turns toward the quality of effort. This brings a sense of calm because the present moment becomes meaningful in itself. Each action is done with care, not because it guarantees a reward, but because it aligns with a clear way of living. And from this alignment, results arise naturally. In this way, luck is no longer something to be wished for or feared. It becomes something that grows from within, shaped by the rhythm of consistent, mindful action. What once seemed uncertain begins to feel steady, and the path forward, though still unfolding, carries a quiet sense of direction. Discipline acts like salt in life. Small, steady efforts quietly transform ordinary actions into meaningful outcomes. When people think about success or failure, they often imagine invisible forces deciding their fate. They say some are lucky and others are not, as if life distributes outcomes like a lottery. But this idea hides a deeper truth. What we call luck is often the visible result of invisible discipline working quietly over time. It is not something that falls from the sky, it is something built step by step through consistent action, awareness, and restraint. Discipline is not dramatic. It does not shout for attention. It appears in the ordinary moments when no one is watching. It is choosing to continue when there is no immediate reward, and to stay steady when motivation fades. Like salt in food, it is small in quantity but powerful in effect. Without it, even talent becomes dull. With it, even simple effort becomes meaningful. A life without discipline may still move forward, but it moves without direction, like water spilling in all directions instead of flowing into a clear stream. Many people misunderstand discipline as restriction, but in reality it creates freedom. When a person learns to control impulses, they gain control over outcomes. When actions are not ruled by momentary emotions, the mind becomes stable. This stability allows better decisions, and better decisions naturally create better results. Over time, this pattern builds what others may call good fortune, though it is nothing more than prepared action meeting opportunity. Opportunities are always passing through life, but not everyone is ready to receive them. Two people may face the same situation yet respond differently. One may hesitate, distracted, or uncertain. The other may act clearly because they have already trained themselves through repeated effort and focus. To the outside observer, it may look like chance favored one and ignored the other. But in truth, readiness determines the outcome more than randomness ever could. Purity of intention also plays a silent but powerful role. When actions are driven by confusion, ego, or distraction, energy is scattered. But when intention is clear, actions become aligned. There is less inner conflict and more natural flow in what one does. This clarity is not something that appears suddenly. It is shaped by reflection, restraint, and the willingness to remove unnecessary noise from one's life. Over time, discipline and purity work together like salt dissolving evenly in water. They cannot always be seen, but their presence changes everything. The mind becomes less reactive, the body becomes more consistent, and effort becomes more focused. What once felt heavy begins to feel natural. Progress is no longer forced, it begins to unfold steadily. From this perspective, luck loses its mystery. It is no longer a force outside human influence. Instead, it becomes the outcome of inner order reflected in outer results. A disciplined life does not chase luck, it creates conditions where positive outcomes naturally appear. In this way, what people once called fortune is revealed as preparation meeting opportunity at the right moment. And so life slowly becomes less about waiting and more about building, less about hoping and more about shaping. In that quiet transformation, luck is no longer something to search for, it becomes something you recognize as the echo of your own consistent effort. Purity of intention, free from greed, anger, and distraction, leads to clearer decisions and better results. Purity of intention is one of the most subtle forces shaping a human life, yet it is often the least noticed. Many people focus on actions alone, believing that what matters most is what is done. But behind every action lies an intention, and it is this hidden root that determines whether the action brings clarity or confusion, peace or disturbance, progress or repetition of the same struggles. When intention is clouded, even good effort becomes scattered. A person may work hard, speak well, and try many paths, yet still feel as if nothing is aligning. This happens because the inner direction is divided. One part of the mind seeks truth, another seeks approval, another seeks reward without understanding. In such a state, decisions are made quickly but not clearly. The surface may appear active, but beneath it there is restlessness, like water disturbed by constant wind. Purity of intention does not mean perfection. It means simplicity and honesty within the mind. It is the quiet alignment where what you think, what you say, and what you do begin to point in the same direction. When intention is pure, there is less internal conflict. Choices become easier not because life becomes simpler, but because the mind stops pulling in opposite directions at once. There is a natural clarity that arises, like a lamp flame that remains steady when the wind is gone. In daily life, this purity can be seen in small moments. When a person speaks without the need to impress, their words carry more weight. When someone acts without hidden motive, their actions become more stable. Even mistakes made with pure intention do not create deep confusion because there is honesty in the effort. The mind can learn from such actions without carrying unnecessary burden. But when intention is mixed, even success feels uncertain. A goal may be reached, yet satisfaction does not remain. This is because the mind knows when it has been divided. Outward achievement cannot fully settle inner imbalance. One may gain what was desired but still feel unsettled, as if something important was left unfinished. This is the quiet consequence of unclear intention. Purity of intention also sharpens perception. When the mind is not constantly defending or justifying itself, it becomes more observant. It sees situations as they are, not as it wishes them to be. From this clarity, wiser decisions naturally arise. There is less need to force outcomes because actions are guided by understanding rather than impulse. Over time, this way of living changes the entire quality of experience. The mind becomes less reactive and more steady. Decisions are no longer driven by confusion or pressure, but by a calm recognition of what is appropriate in the present moment. This does not remove challenges, but it changes the way challenges are met. Instead of being overwhelmed, one responds with balance. In this sense, purity of intention is not a distant ideal. It is a practical foundation for a clear life. It removes unnecessary noise from within, allowing actions to flow with greater precision. And when actions are clear, the results that follow are also clear. What appears as luck from the outside is often nothing more than a mind that has learned to act without distortion, moving through life with quiet understanding and steady direction. Preparation and awareness determine who recognizes and receives opportunities when they appear. When people observe success in others, they often focus only on the final result. They see the achievement, the recognition, or the moment when everything seems to come together, and they label it as luck. But what remains unseen is the long chain of preparation that made that moment possible. Behind what appears sudden is usually a pattern of steady effort, repeated discipline, and quiet endurance that shaped the conditions for success long before it arrived. Preparation is not always dramatic. It is built in ordinary days when choices are made repeatedly in the same direction. It is the decision to continue learning when progress feels slow, to maintain effort when motivation is absent, and to remain consistent when there is no immediate reward. These actions may feel small in isolation, but together they form a structure that supports future outcomes. Without this structure, even opportunities that do appear may pass unnoticed or be handled poorly. Life often presents moments that can change direction, but these moments do not announce themselves clearly. They arrive quietly, embedded in everyday situations. A conversation, a task, a challenge, or an unexpected responsibility can all become turning points. The difference between someone who benefits from such moments and someone who does not is rarely chance. It is readiness. Preparation allows a person to recognize importance where others see only routine. When preparation is absent, even favorable conditions fail to produce meaningful results. A person may hope for improvement, yet lack the skills, awareness, or discipline needed to respond when opportunity appears. In such cases, it is easy to believe that fortune was missing. However, the deeper reality is that the foundation was not strong enough to support what arrived. Without preparation, opportunity has nothing to connect with, and so it passes without leaving a lasting effect. True preparation also shapes the mind. It develops patience, focus, and resilience. A prepared mind does not panic when circumstances change because it has already been trained through repetition and experience. It understands that uncertainty is part of every process and does not interpret difficulty as failure. Instead, it sees each challenge as part of a larger pattern of growth. This perspective allows action to remain steady even under pressure. Over time, preparation becomes a way of living rather than a separate effort. It influences how a person approaches time, responsibility, and decision-making. Instead of reacting to life moment by moment, they begin to shape it gradually through consistent behavior. The results of this approach may not always be immediate, but they are stable and lasting. What seems slow from the outside is actually a deep form of building that supports future stability. From this perspective, luck is not something that appears suddenly without cause. It is the visible outcome of invisible preparation. It is the moment when readiness meets opportunity without delay or confusion. When the ground has been prepared, even small chances can grow into meaningful results. When it has not, even large opportunities may remain unused. In this way, life becomes less about waiting for fortunate moments and more about preparing for them. Preparation transforms uncertainty into possibility. It ensures that when the right moment arrives, it does not pass unnoticed but becomes a natural continuation of everything that has already been built quietly over time. True success comes from inner work, refining habits and maintaining consistency rather than chasing external luck. When people reflect on life, they often search for patterns that explain why certain outcomes appear favorable while others do not. Many attribute these differences to luck, as if life randomly assigns success or failure without reason. But a closer look reveals something more grounded and consistent. What is often called luck is usually the result of accumulated discipline, steady habits, and the quiet shaping of character over time. It is not a sudden gift, but the unfolding of long-term inner work. Discipline plays a central role in this process. It is not a force that demands perfection, but a practice of returning again and again to what matters. It is the ability to continue even when enthusiasm fades, to stay consistent even when results are not visible, and to maintain direction when distractions are strong. Like salt in a vast amount of water, discipline may seem small in proportion, but its effect changes the entire nature of experience. Without it, effort becomes scattered. With it, effort gains structure and meaning. Over time, discipline reshapes not only actions but also perception. A disciplined person begins to see life differently. Instead of reacting impulsively, they respond thoughtfully. Instead of chasing every passing desire, they learn to distinguish between what is temporary and what is valuable. This shift creates stability, and stability creates reliability in outcomes. What others may later call good fortune often emerges from this reliable foundation of steady behavior. There is also a quieter transformation that occurs within the mind. As discipline deepens, unnecessary noise begins to fade. The constant pull of distraction weakens and attention becomes more focused. This clarity allows better decisions to emerge naturally rather than being forced. When the mind is less divided, actions become more aligned. This alignment reduces wasted effort and increases the effectiveness of each step taken. Over time, this creates a pattern where outcomes begin to improve, not because circumstances change suddenly, but because the quality of engagement has changed steadily. In everyday life, this can be seen in simple examples. A person who consistently practices patience in communication avoids unnecessary conflict. Someone who maintains focus in their work develops deeper understanding and skill. Another who remains steady in their commitments builds trust with others. None of these actions appear extraordinary on their own, but together they form a strong foundation that supports future opportunities. When those opportunities arise, they are met with readiness rather than confusion. What appears as luck is often the meeting point between preparation and timing. Timing alone is not enough, and preparation alone remains incomplete without opportunity. But when discipline has shaped a person over time, they become capable of recognizing and responding to moments that others may overlook. In this sense, luck is not an external force acting independently, it is the result of internal readiness meeting external conditions. Gradually, the idea of randomness loses its dominance. Life begins to feel less unpredictable and more responsive to consistent behavior. The focus shifts from hoping for better circumstances to cultivating better habits. This shift changes everything because it places responsibility back into daily action. Instead of waiting for fortune, a person begins to build the conditions where positive outcomes are more likely to occur. In the end, discipline does not guarantee specific results, but it creates the environment in which meaningful results become possible. It acts quietly without recognition, yet its influence shapes the entire direction of life. And what is often seen as luck is simply the visible outcome of this unseen, continuous process of refinement.